Hey guys, David Jordan, thank you for watching. Today we're going to clean the AK-47 rifle. The things we're going to use to clean the rifle: some CLP from Break Free, that's cleaner, lubricant, and preservative. To lubricate the heavier parts that I want lubricated, I'm using Ultilube 2 from Wilson Combat. I'm going to be using an Otis cleaning cable. You can use a rod, that's perfectly fine. I've got a 38 caliber bore brush that goes with that, and then the patch adapter. I've got some smaller rifle cleaning patches and some larger diameter ones for the gas tube. I use pipe cleaners that you can get from like Hobby Lobby or something like that to clean out the gas tube. A couple of Q-tips, a 12 gauge rod adapter, and bore brush for the gas tube. Mostly I use a nylon brush. I like the ones with the thicker and the thinner sides. For more detailed work. I use that for most of my cleaning, as you'll see. The second, and I also have a steel wool brush on hand for some of the heavier deposits. I always wear rubber gloves when I clean to keep the solvents and stuff like that off my hand. It just makes it easier to get that stuff off. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is take the magazine out, set it aside. Then we're going to take out the live round, set it aside as well. Lock the bolt to the rear. Check the chamber and make sure it's empty. Let the bolt go forward. And we'll remove the receiver cover, guide rod, and the recoil spring. Take out the piston and bolt. And I take the gas tube off. And that's how I field strip it. Next thing I'm going to do is take a patch with a little CLP on it. I'm going to run that down the barrel. I'll do that a couple times and then let it just sit so that it can be soaking up, so some of that CLP can be breaking up some of the carbon. And I'm going to take a brush with some CLP and kind of get down into the receiver. Let it start working as well. At this point, I'm just kind of getting it in there. You can get it a little more thoroughly if you like. So I've got that in there, and I'll just let that sit. We'll take my bolt, put a little CLP on the nylon brush that I use, and I'll just cover that bolt in CLP. Let it soak. I take my recoil spring and just kind of run a little CLP over that. You don't have to. It's fine if you don't. That's it. And then the same thing with the end of the piston. If you've got a little extra carbon that is hard to get off, you can use a steel wire brush. Not too hard, about like a toothbrush. This one's not too bad, so I'm going to leave it like that. On the other end, I'm going to get down in all these little nooks and crannies. The main thing here is I want to get any kind of debris, sand, dirt, you know, any kind of metal shavings, anything that could be down in there, I want to get it out. So I'm going to let that start breaking down and set it aside. While that's doing its thing, I'll take a 12 gauge rod and the attachment and run it through this part of the gas tube. I'm going to do that dry. I'm not going to put any COP on there. I'm also going to run it through this part as well. Again, no COP. You can clean it more thoroughly if you like. This one's kind of dirty, but not too bad. So I'm going to leave that like it is. Now that that's had an opportunity to soak in, or start breaking the carbon down, I'm going to get back in there and get a little more thorough with it. Just remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to clean off every speck of dust or anything like that. I mainly look at the working parts and make sure that they're clean of debris and things like that. You can clean it more thoroughly. That won't hurt it. But the good thing is the AK has a very good tolerance for dirt and grime and stuff like that. I just try to get the stuff that's unnecessary and get it out. I'm going to let that hammer go forward. Kind of work it down in there. You get the idea. When I'm finished with that part, I'm going to take my rag and get down in there and start getting the excess CLP and dirt out that way. For rags, usually before I get rid of a t-shirt that has holes or something like that, I just repurpose it for stuff like this. I'll just cut it in pieces and use them for rags and stuff. Again, doesn't have to be perfect. If you want to get down in those little nooks and crannies with a Q-tip, that'll help. They also have some little plastic picks that you can use that you can put a cleaning swab on as well. That works working pretty well. Once I've done that, I'm going to take and put a 38 caliber adapter on the cleaning rod and run it down through there. And I'll run it down through there about twice, 2 or 3 times. You can do it as many times you like. Then I'm going to take and put a clean patch on my rod or my cable, and I will run those through until they come out clean. Once this is clean to my satisfaction, I will put it aside. A little more COP and really start cleaning that bolt. Any areas where you see carbon deposits protruding from the metal, I want to make sure I get that. While I'm at it, I'm going to check my I'll check the extractor spring, make sure it's working, and it is. And I'll check the firing pin by tapping it on the bottom. It's good to go. COP should have had good time to work on the bolt carrier. So I'm going to make sure I get in there really good. Again, you're going to look for any carbon buildup, any debris that shouldn't be there, things like that. If you need to use a steel brush, you can. Not too hard. When I'm through, I want to wipe this, especially the piston down, as good as I can. I don't want any excess lubrication on that. If I need to get in there with a Q-tip or something, I can do that. Again, just to make sure you get sand, debris, shavings, things like that out. That's looking pretty good. Set those two things aside. Recoil spring in the guide rod. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that, just to knock off whatever's on there, dust or dirt or any of that stuff. Set that aside. With the gas tube, I'll take a patch, a dry patch, run it through there until that's clean to my satisfaction. I might hit around the edges like that, just to clean off any junk or debris or anything like that. With the receiver cover, I usually just wipe it out. Okay, now that it's thoroughly clean, we're going to lubricate it before we put it back together. Put a stream on each side there. I'm going to coat the sides of the bolt pretty well. Some people may not want to use this much lubricant. I find that it works better if I do. This may seem excessive to some people, and that's okay. I use, sometimes I fire in excess of 2,000 rounds. You know, through a class or something like that, and I want to make sure that with the heat of the rifle, it stays operating. So, sufficient amount of lubrication there. I'll put my gas tube back on. Slide the bolt back in. Recoil spring. Make sure. Yep, that looks pretty good. We'll just kind of wipe things down at that point. And then when we're through, we'll put the dust cover on. After that, we just kind of wipe off anything that's, excess. And that's it. And that's really all there is. The last thing we want to do is make sure that our firearm is loaded and ready to go. I hope this helps. Thank you for watching. I'll see you again next time. I want to take just a few minutes and say hello to all the guys at Pipe Hitters Union. This is one of the shirts that they manufacture, and one of the hats. They've got tons and tons of hats and shirts and other things to choose from. The link is below. Check them out.